Hi, my name is Mackenzie. Today I'm going to be talking with you about my 10 personal favorite formative assessments that I can use as a future educator in my elementary classroom. Formative assessments can be given at any point during a lesson. They can be given at the beginning, they could be given during the lesson, and they can be used at the end of a lesson to assess what your students have learned. I have a mix of all three of those in my 10 assessments. My first formative assessment is called a 1-minute paper. For this, students are given, that's right, 1 minute to either respond to a prompt or a question that the teacher has presented. It could be something open-ended, like tell me your favorite thing that you learned today, or tell me something that you don't fully understand that we learned about today. Or it can be more of a guided question, something specific to the material that was taught today. These 1-minute papers can be used at any point during the lesson. I would intend to use them at the end as a summary activity. The next formative assessment that I really loved is called the snowball fight, where at the end of the lesson you have students take 1 minute to write down everything that they found important. This can be the same as a 1-minute paper where you can ask something more open-ended, or you can ask something that you want more of a direct answer to. But once students have taken the time to write their responses on their paper, they ball up the paper and they throw it to a general area of the room where there are no students sitting. Once they are done doing that, the teacher, or you can have a student, go up there and collect pieces of paper and start reading them off. This is a good gauge to see if your students are understanding the material that is being taught. The third assessment is called directed paraphrasing. I really like this one. I think it's a fun way to gauge if students are actually understanding what is being taught. For this one, what you do is you take the material that you have taught, and the students will paraphrase it with a certain audience in mind. For example, the field students that I am with are learning about women in World War II. So at the end of this assessment, I might say, okay, you're 5th graders, and I want you to write about World War II and women in World War II in such a way that 1st graders would be able to understand it. It allows them to break down the material that they're learning and put it into simple words and just break it down to see if they really understand it. My next formative assessment is called Hand In, Pass Out. For this assessment, students are asked a question and they're asked to respond to it anonymously. So they write down their answer and they hand it in to the teacher. And then the teacher will turn around and pass out what was written down randomly to students, and she'll have the students grade and assess what was written by their peers. Chalkboard splash is another one that I have some personal experience with and I really enjoy, which is why I included it in my list. So for a chalkboard splash, the teacher will write a word or a prompt up on the whiteboard and have students come and write a response about the prompt. A 3-2-1 slip is a pretty common but easy formative assessment to do as students are leaving the classroom. Or at the end of the lesson, you can have them make their own 3-2-1 chart, or you can easily find one on the internet that you can print out and hand out to them. So basically what you have students do is write down 3 things they learned, 2 things they found interesting, and 1 thing they're still not super sure about the lesson. And you can change these 3-2-1 prompts to really anything that you want. An assessment that we're probably all pretty aware of is called a Think, Pair, Share. Think, Pair, Shares are a great way for the teacher to just walk around and observe what her students are talking about in a more casual setting. So what you would do is you would pose a question or a topic of discussion to the students and have them think independently about it and write a response for maybe a minute or 2, and then have them turn to a partner and discuss their answer. Low stakes quizzes like a Quizlet or a Kahoot are a great way to gauge student understanding without the risk of a low quiz grade hurting their overall grade. So these are casual, low stakes quizzes that quiz the students on their knowledge of the topic, again without risk of it harming their overall grade. The next assessment is called a round robin chart. For this, you split the students into small groups and you can give them just a piece of big butcher paper or something big that they can write on and pass around to different groups. For this, you can have students either write down important information that they learned today, or you can give them a guided question to answer. And once they are done answering, they will pass their paper to the next group until every group has had a chance to write on every paper. Once everybody is done, you'll then share the results and what everybody has written with the class. To dig deeper into your students' understanding of a topic, you can use interview assessments to assess their knowledge of the content. Now with these, you don't have to have an interview with every student in the class because that can get a little time consuming, but pick a handful of students to have 3 to 5 minute interviews with and ask them questions about the material to gauge their understanding and to give you a broader look at how the class is understanding the material. I hope you enjoyed learning about these assessments as much as I enjoyed talking about them. I can't wait to view my peers' projects and learn even more formative assessments that I can add to my library for whenever I am a teacher. Bye!